Hello and welcome to this week's weekly forecast video for week commencing the 25th of July 2022. This year is charging on by, and we are going to begin with an overview of the week, which I've already laid out for you here. Then we will go day by day, finally ending up with a spiritual guidance message at the end. Please do stay tuned for that. If you haven't already subscribe to the channel, please do so. Please do also remember to leave me a like and a comment because that helps me so much. So let's dive on in. Okay, so this week is really looking very auspicious, very positive. We begin on this amazing chariot energy, and it just feels like we'll be able to start moving forward, start forging our path are the words I want to use. Really start charging forwards to achieve our goals, whether they're at work, whether they're in our personal life, whether it's family goals. It doesn't have to be about money necessarily, it's about abundance. It's about whatever things that you want to achieve, that you've felt held back from for the past few years. And many of us, sort of spiritual workers, souls who are here to do this kind of work, many of us have felt very held back for a few years now. Not just because of the things going on in the world, but just generally there's been that sense for us. But it does feel really much like the universe, the divine, is really conspiring now in our favour to make things go much better for us, because we have this synchronicity card here with the web weaver on that number 4, and then the rabbit spirit, which is again a very fortunate omen. Now is a lucky time on that 49, but that brings in a very transformative energy of 49, 13, 4. So we've got that transformative 13 hiding within the rabbit's potential here. So the rabbit with her baby rabbits. And there's a lot of wisdom here, but it's bringing wisdom to matter, and that's what's going to help to move us forward. So I think some of the changes we're going to see this week are going to be very tangible ones. They're not going to be changes within us. I think they're going to be changes without us, on the outside, on the exterior. So it may be on a national scale that governments are going to make better choices. Certain restrictions that might still be in place could be lifted this week. There's going to be some positive change that are very freeing for us, so that we can start to move forwards and really achieve those goals. Just going to straighten up my camera because that's annoying me. There we go. But it does look like we're going to get back on track finally this week. So it's very positive omen. And it is speaking very much to me of concrete changes this week. So very fortunate energy to be working with. If you've been waiting to start a project, get on with it. Now is the time. If you've been hoping to start something new, get on with it. Now is the time. It's time to pick the reins back up again. It may be something that you started and couldn't continue with, or you felt that it wasn't going anywhere. But I think we'll see a new lease of life, many of us, this week, with our businesses, with our projects, with our YouTube channels, perhaps. It's going to be very interesting. So do hang on to your hats. And there's a reminder there to me as well about the tortoise and the hare, the story of the tortoise and the hare, which a friend of mine mentioned to me recently, and it does feel very much like we are going to get where we're going, even if it's felt like we've been going at snail's pace for some time. So let's now take a look at the days of the week. We're going to start with Monday, of course. Here are Monday's cards. We have number 5, Unity. Number 25, the Eyes of Beauty. And number 47, the Pig Spirit. So again, it's almost like these cards on some level are reiterating the message for the whole week. So I think Monday is going to start this theme with a bit of a bang, is what I say. It's going to feel like we charge out of the starting blocks on Monday. It does feel like there's a lot of support around us as well, whether it's tangible support from actual people around us, from our boss, from family, from people that we need to cooperate with us to achieve our goals. But it does seem as though your ideas, your projects will be met favourably, met with favourable support and seen well by other people. I don't think this is a week where you're going to find yourself feeling misunderstood, or that people don't like what you're doing. I think you'll find a lot of positive support, people stepping in around you. And I really love the 47 pig spirit. He's got little wings. So we have got a little flying pig here. So wow. And if, all bets are off on Monday. If pigs can fly, all bets are off. But there is also a message of abundance here. The piglet, I mean, this is a little piglet, but the pig is a very abundant animal, can bring great success. But also I want to say there is a risk of being a little bit greedy on Monday. So just be aware that you don't have to have everything just because it's available to you. Only take what you need. You know, that's not to say that you should live in lack and, you know, only have the bare minimum. That's not what I mean at all. But there is a difference between having the right amount and just being greedy and taking for the sake of it, taking things you don't need, or taking advantage of other people's good nature when you don't actually need their help. So there's a little bit of a caution there, and equally don't let other people take advantage of you either if you're supporting somebody else with their goals or with their projects. So a little note there for coaches and counsellors. But again, a very positive day, a very optimistic day on that 25/7 as well. Very optimistic, but I feel as well there's a lot of clarity in our psychic ability here as well on that mystical 25/7. I want to say our mind and intuition working very well together on that 25/7. That's kind of like a number of the psychic, if you like, to me today. And 7, a very mystical number, the number of the mystic and the one that can see and the one that has the abilities. It's a very, very clairvoyant day, Monday. So you may notice your own abilities being enhanced. Could be a good day to get a reading as well. If you've been in the market for one of those recently, it could be the day to actually pick your psychic or your medium, depending on what kind of reading you're after. Very interesting day. I think there'll be a lot of foresight as well for the future. So projects that we begin or we start to plan or continue to plan on Monday, I think have the potential to be very successful. There's so much support out there on Monday. So enjoy the day and just remember not to be greedy. So let's move on to Tuesday now. Okay. So Tuesday's cards, we have the 6 of Earth. We have the Hawk Prince on that number 11. And we have number 68, the Wombat Spirit, to be at home. Oh, this is beautiful. Very nice energy here, very balanced. Very, very balanced day, I think, Tuesday. There's the feeling for me of being at home within yourself and things feeling a bit easier. If they've felt difficult recently, or if you felt very challenged, very tired, working a new job, working a new project, or just having trouble, struggling to keep on top of everything that you have to do, it feels like Tuesday will be a little bit easier, like some of the load will be lifted, like the balance is returning somewhat to your life here. So one way or another, whether it's people actually assisting you or whether it's you getting used to a new situation or just getting better at something, it does feel a much gentler day than you might have experienced previously. Again, the Hawk Prince usually brings in spiritual messages, so there's something to listen to here for sure. Pay attention to any synchronicity on Tuesday, events going on the world stage on Tuesday. And the Wombat Spirit bringing in some very balanced personal energy on that 68, 14, 5. So 14, of course, is a very, very balanced number. It brings in harmony. It can be very, very helpful. But there's a reminder to the heart here because we've got the 6 and the 68. I do want to talk about the heart. There's a reminder to the heart that we can continue, that everything is okay, that all is not lost. So I think if you've been feeling a little disheartened or struggling with everything that's going on in the world, there may be a little bit of a boost, some reassurance on Tuesday, some reasons to feel positive and reassured is the word I want to say. It's a very gentle Cancerian energy coming in just to really reassure and hug everybody on Tuesday. Really lovely day. I do also want to highlight the heart chakra. Very drawn to this green jewel here, which is sat on the Wombat Spirit's head. Interesting that he has his heart sat on top of his crown chakra, which is of course our connection with spirit. So the spirit communication comes in through the chakra that sits on top, the energy that sits on energy center, that sits on top of the head. And I feel it's a day where we may be communicating with our guides about matters of the heart, perhaps literally about romantic matters, things that we care about, things that are very close to our heart, but we may also be communicating through the heart, through our feelings. So pay attention, because I think you may notice your spirit guides or your angels coming very close, and helping you to feel very loving feelings. So if you notice sort of out of the blue, suddenly feeling these wonderful, beautiful, loving feelings of being just taken care of and loved, and that can happen from time to time when they draw near to us, when our loving angels draw near, our spirit guides draw near and just share that love with us. I think there's a lot of love from heaven here today. So very, very, very beautiful day. Okay, let's move on to Wednesday now. Wednesday's cards, we have number 8, Justice. We have number 28, the Ice Queen. And number 56, the Spider Spirit. Make your dreams real. Fascinating. Okay. Very interesting. I do feel as though there is a toppling of idols, a toppling of the tower on Wednesday. I want to say things that have been in place for a very, very long time, as this Ice Queen energy suggests. I think it's time for it to actually change now. So it could be institutions having to change. It could be laws, regulations, rules, policies at work, you know, right down to the individual level, things that you've done in your life for a long time. You may suddenly find that habits need to change, old negative habits, but habits that perhaps you didn't realise were negative because it's just something that you've always done and never really questioned, never really thought about it, you know. And a lot of us pick up habits or ways of doing things from our family, from our culture, from TV, unfortunately. And it never really occurs to us that there's anything wrong with that, so we just kind of go with it. But I feel there could be a reassessing of how we do things. It's not so much necessarily what we do, it's how we do it that's really coming under the microscope on Wednesday, and I think that's going to make it a very interesting day. I think there'll be some interesting things going on politically as well, because there is a need to balance the scales. Again, that theme of the scales coming up on Wednesday. We already had it on Tuesday. But I feel on Wednesday it's a little bit different because it feels the energy feels more severe, it feels more serious, and also more on a national, international level, that things need to be balanced out here. Wrongs need to be righted, things need to be straightened out, and perhaps old ways of doing things, old systems that just don't serve us anymore, and I mean that in a good way, that they don't serve us anymore, they need to go. So I see some positive change potentially there. I think as well that it's very important that we stay in very positive energy, I think, on Wednesday, just to facilitate those changes so that they are very much in the favour of mankind, because of course there are those who have a rather anti-human agenda, and it's very important that we don't facilitate their plans by staying in negativity, staying in fear, staying in worry. Try to stay positive because the energy is transformational on that 28-10-1. There's a huge potential to make changes here, you know, and a reminder that yes, things keep going, but what has been up will always be down at some point, and what has been down will always go up at some point. You know, things will always change. Change is the only constant in life. So don't ever think that, well, this is just how it is and this is how it's always going to be, because that's just simply not the case with this reality, this kind of 3D video game that we all live in. That's not what it's supposed to do. It's constantly changing. It's constantly moving things around for us. And the spider knows that. I mean, Grandmother Spider is incredibly wise. You know, she spins the web and helps us to create our reality. She sees everything. But spiders are very pragmatic about their web. They don't spin it once and expect it to be there for the rest of their lives. They are aware that they're going to have to redesign it as the seasons change, as things get broken, things get torn down. They may have to move, spin a web somewhere else. You know, they are aware that they will have to change, will have to reassess. And I think that's what we're being reminded of here. Change, reassessing. Are these things still fit for purpose? You know, are these systems still fit for purpose? Are these habits in your life still fit for purpose? Are they serving you, or are you just doing it for the sake of it now? Because it may be time to change. A great potential there, numerologically speaking, for transformation, but also wisdom coming in on that 56-11 too. Very interesting numerology of number 2, 2, 8, 10, 11 coming through there. It's going to be an interesting day, I think. So, you know, keep an eye on the news, because it could be fascinating to see what world leaders let slip that they perhaps didn't or don't intend to on that day, because I feel a few hands are going to be forced, but in the favour of people, in the favour of what we might call the light, for want of a better word. So we're going to move on now to Thursday's cards. And for Thursday, we have the Six of Water, we have Gaia's Garden, and we have the Seahorse Spirit. Now this is interesting. Okay. Wow. The energy I get here for Thursday is very much about remembering how we used to do things. So following on from Wednesday's energy, where I think change is needed and a reassessment of how we do things on, right from the international down, right down to the personal level. I think there's an element of going backwards in some ways, or looking backwards, looking at the past, looking for wisdom from times past, from nations past, from people in the past. How did they do things? What can we learn from the past? What can we learn from our own past? There's very much a feeling of looking backwards there and remembering that not everything has to happen straight away. Some things, sometimes it is better to wait, and the seahorse spirit reminds us very much, watch and wait on that 53 8. 8 is the number of longevity. It is the number of continuing, keeping going despite everything. It reminds us that this world, this universe has no end. It just keeps going, keeps going. So there really is no rush in life. Even if it feels like there's a rush, everything happens in the season that it is meant to. Nature happens in the season, all the things in nature happen in the season that they are meant to happen in. You can't harvest your crops when they haven't grown yet. That's just impossible. Sometimes you have to wait. So there's definitely a theme of patience coming through here for Thursday, which could feel a little bit frustrating, but I feel the reason things may not be going so fast today, or we may have that impulse to wait and look backwards, is so that we can glean wisdom from our past, from our childhood. And that's not to say that people in the past had it perfect, they had it all right, because that's not the case. But there are lessons that we can learn from those past civilizations, from those past generations. So maybe take some time to talk to your older relatives and see what they've got to say about the world and how we do things. Listen to their ideas and see what works, see what you can take into the present now, because I feel there's a lot of ancient wisdom coming through on Thursday, going to be absolutely fascinating day. And a reminder as well and I keep saying this, that we are part of the natural world. There's that reminder there that we are part of the natural world. We belong on this planet. We are not a virus on this planet. We are not out of place here. We belong here. We live in a lunatic asylum currently. This whole society is set up in a way that makes us act in very strange, bizarre ways which are not natural for human beings. However, because we're so adaptable, that's why we have survived. But we can't just change that overnight. But it is necessary for us to undo some of the things that we've been doing. And I think that's going to be one of the lessons of Thursday. What do we need to stop doing? What can we go back to doing? And what can we do better in the future in more simple and natural ways? So let's move on to Friday now. Friday's cards. Oh, we have, wasn't Bedford for a change. Bedford's actually out on the landing right now, guarding me outside my door. He's decided he doesn't want to come in today. I'm sure he will another day. So we have the Page of Fire, the Hungry Ghosts on that number 14, and number 1, Ant Spirit. So Friday. Ooh, okay, be careful. Someone doesn't take a piece of you on Friday. Goodness me. There is certainly something of a threat to the individual on Friday. I want to say certain factions within the world, certain groups may be threatening individuals and saying, you have to work with the group. You have to do what we say. You are a communal being. You're a group being. You have to do what we say or we will sting you. There's a very... that's the energy I'm getting from the Ant Spirit card today. But at the same time, on that number 1, it's reminding us that we are individuals. So it's a very interesting card, this one, actually, because ants obviously are animals that live in colonies, that cooperate, that cannot live on their own. They don't live individually. They live in huge colonies. They can't exist without each other. But there's a reminder about the individual. Where is the individual in all of that? Where are you in your life right now? There may be persecution of people with different opinions today. I think some places in the world it may actually flag up. But at the same time, I think it will be motivating for others, this energy, that yes, we are individuals and we can do things differently. We can step away from those who would want to sap our energy, to use us up and use us like cogs in a machine. We are not cogs in a machine. I mean, you can act like one if you want, but you're not a cog. You're a human being. You're a divine being. You're a sovereign being. You are heaven, God reincarnated as a human being on earth. You are a tiny little chip off that block. You are divine spirit in human form. You are not an ant. Even if they try to make us act like ants in this crazy lunatic asylum we live in right now, this society, which is crazy making as well. And there's a reminder here that yes, it is okay to break away from the group. It is okay to break away from the fold. It is safe to do so, and it could be very exciting, but it does require bravery, and it requires learning something new. Pages are always learning. And I think as well, it could be a fun day if you are brave enough to take the opportunity presented to you. There's a very strong fire energy coming through for me on Friday. Fire brings great opportunity, it brings growth, it brings potential of new beginnings, but it can also burn you. So be very careful how you work with this energy. If you're doing any healing work, I think that will be very helpful today. You can make good positive steps forwards, but there may be a tendency to go too far with things. So try to rein that in if you find yourself going to extremes on Friday. So Saturday's cards, we have the 8 of Air, we have the Lady of the Gift on number 20, and we have 59 Starfish Spirit. Okay, so the first thing that comes through for me here is certainly that we may be battling some remnants of our poverty consciousness. So now what I mean by poverty consciousness are it's the karma, it's the thought patterns, the programming in our brain that keeps us in a state of not being abundant, of not being rich, of not having all the things that we could have. And I don't mean that in the sense of greed or in the sense of money necessarily, but it keeps us small, keeps us trapped, keeps us in this this control system that humanity has lived in, being kept very, very small for the most part by controllers who run off with all the money and all the resources that they absolutely don't need. Half the time they don't want it either because they're not happy in themselves, so it doesn't make them happy. But there's a real reminder on Saturday, I think, of the poverty consciousness that we need to work on aspects of ourselves where we are not accepting help, not accepting abundance, not accepting opportunities, not taking opportunities. And there's a very beautiful, and as I'm saying this, for some reason I'm hugging myself with my arms. It's almost like, oh, I want to hide, I want to feel small and safe, and if I get too big I won't be safe because people will see me and tear me down. And I just want to say, you will not be torn down, you are safe, everything is okay. There's a very gentle 20 here, very feminine number coming through, reminding us of change, reminding us of the divine feminine that's here to support us, to really encourage us. And remember, you know, the world is a generous place if we allow it to be. If we block that generosity, block that abundance with our own fears. And it's so easy to do that. We all do it. I do it. You know, we all do. And I've written about this in my book. If you haven't read my book, Dream Bigger, How the Law of Attraction Really Works, I will link to that below so you can take a look, see what you think, have a gander at that. But we all do it, and there is a reminder here. I think there's an opportunity on Saturday as well to really take our abundance, our ability to receive, our ability to manifest abundance in the world to the next level. And I think that's going to be very interesting. But with this very beautiful starfish, which brings great balance on that 59, 14, 5. And it's reminding us, be open to infinite possibilities. We live in an infinite universe. There is no shortage of anything other than that which we create by believing it exists. And I do mean that on a high level, obviously. I don't mean that, oh, look, there's lots of gold on this table in front of me because I decided it's there. You know, things don't just drop into your lap at this level of consciousness. That's not how it works. We're still at something of a dense vibration. We're not quite at that level yet. At some point we could be, potentially, you know. But the world is infinite. Stay open to the possibilities. Don't close yourself off and think, oh, you know, that doesn't work. That can't possibly work. That's impossible. Because the very word impossible says I'm possible. It is possible. Many things are possible that we've never thought of, never dreamt of, or perhaps didn't dare to dream. So I want to say on Saturday, dare to dream bigger, dare to imagine greater, bigger things, and challenge yourself maybe to sit with that, to meditate with that, to spend time in prayer or contemplation, and just remember how huge and how divine and how vast the universe is, and how amazing the divine is, or God, the goddess, whatever you want to call that divine energy. God doesn't have any limits. how can limitless, omnipotent energy have limits? but we just believe that we do because we're in human form, you know, and that's kind of the deal here. That's the experience we're here to have, and it's a bit of a bastard sometimes, not gonna lie. But there is a reminder there that much greater things are possible for all of us, which I think is going to be really nice. It's not about bashing you and saying, oh, you should have achieved more by now. Oh, you're not spiritual enough because you haven't got lots of money. Because believe me, there are people that say that and it's bullshit. Okay, just calling that out right now. But there's a very gentle and beautiful reminder, I think, coming through on Saturday that more is possible. We can do more. We can be more. This world can be more beautiful, more abundant, and more loving. So let's move on to Sunday's cards now. For Sunday, we have the Four of Fire. We have the Camel Boy on 33, and we have 51, the Sandpiper Spirit, Be Playful. Now this is beautiful here. I very much like these cards for Sunday. There is a very sort of I want to go to beginner's mind energy. We've had the Sandpiper Spirit recently with his little jaunty hat. There's a very playful feel here with him, very childlike feel. And I like that we have this little boy here as well as a very childlike energy coming through on Sunday. And it comes through in a very concrete way. So it feels as though there is real optimism, optimism for the future on Sunday, but also the reminder not to take things so seriously, not to be so down on things all of the time, because we have this beautiful number 33 here, the 33-6, which is the number of the Christ consciousness, the number of the divine heart. This is a very, very sacred number, and the positive aspect of 33, when it is balanced, is the Christ consciousness, the second coming of the Christ. Very powerful, very divine energy, very beautiful to come through on a Sunday as well, when many people are going to worship, go to church, you know, or practice their spiritual beliefs, their religion. But there's a very, very beautiful, loving feeling of being safe, being loved by the universe, being very much taken care of. So we've got 33-6 and 51-6. So 6 is coming in. Lots of 6s this week for some reason. And we're about to see another one as well on the spiritual guidance message. But also it's very grounded because we've got all these 4s. This is the heart being grounded in the here and now, but feeling wonderful and remembering who we are. There's definitely a remembrance happening, I think, on Sunday, a greater level of remembrance. You know, many of us practice our spirituality, our religion, whatever it is, and we think we know this stuff, but there's always a new level for us to learn experientially, to actually feel it and know it on that much deeper level. So I think many spiritual lessons coming through, many positive lessons, very, very beautiful, loving energy on Sunday. Very nice day to spend with your family, to spend with loved ones. Really enjoy that energy. You know, because the divine is everything. Everything is the divine. You know, and remember that, you know, you don't have to do anything special. All right, just be you. Just find your joy. That's all you're here to do. Okay, there are no hard tasks that you have to do here. Just find your joy. You know, unless you've chosen to do them, which is absolutely fine. Okay. But you don't have to suffer, you don't have to struggle in this lifetime unless it's something that you're choosing to do, or just something that you're going through at the moment. It's not the whole point of your lifetime. The point of life is not to suffer at this point. Okay, we're moving beyond that energy now, and there's a beautiful reminder of that today. So we will just move on to our spiritual guidance for this week. Some really beautiful cards here that I've taken from my new deck, which is the Quantum Oracle. So we're going to do some quantumplating now. Thank you, Chrissy, for that word. Chrissy has a new channel. If you haven't already checked it out, I will link below. That is her, I hope I pronounce this correctly, Zeta Afuki channel. I don't know if I butchered that pronunciation, but that's her new channel, so do check it out if you haven't already. Okay. So, wow, what a beautiful message for this week. Again, it's the 4 and the 6 coming through. It's the heart and the concrete of the real world. So it feels almost as if this week's spiritual guidance is a reminder just of how deserving we are. It's all about abundance this week. It's all about remembering how to receive, remembering how to create beautiful things in the world. Look at all these flowers, these beautiful women standing here, you know, this lovely golden yellow at the top here. This is all about our self-worth. This is about a real boost coming in for the solar plexus chakra, which feels very appropriate because we've just moved into Leo season, I believe. And also we're coming up to the Lion's Gate on 8/8. August 8th, which is going to be a very powerful spiritual day energy this year. I mean, the whole Lionsgate energy isn't just on the one day, it is on a few days surrounding either side as well. But there is a real feeling of gratitude this week, and a reminder as well. If you don't have a gratitude practice, I mean, just try and spend some time giving thanks for your food, giving thanks for everything that you have in your life, and remembering to be grateful, but on a very loving level, not grateful as in a making yourself small and feeling that you have to be grateful for crumbs. That's not what I mean. Just feel the love of the universe around you, and the beauty in everything, the beauty in the small things, whether it's these little birds here or these beautiful flowers here or these butterflies. There is beauty in that. There is so much abundance in everything. And I think as well this week there is a real opportunity, like I've said, there's a real opportunity here to learn just how deserving we are and just how much we can have when we remember how deserving we are. And I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about being selfish or greedy there. I am literally just talking about us being beautiful spiritual beings that are here to have beautiful experiences and bring more beauty to the world, to bring more joy to the world. And that's the reminder coming through this week. It's going to be a very interesting week. I think lots of opportunity to do wonderful things. I'm not saying it's going to be easy for everyone, because that would be ridiculous. Of course it can't be easy for everyone. But there will nonetheless be an opportunity, I think, for everyone to see this at some point during the week. And there's it's a very loving energy that I feel coming through from the higher realms this week. They really want us to remember just how much we deserve and just how much we can have. And of course, there are those elements within the world that we might call the dark forces or the cabal or what have you, or the powers that should not be. I like to call them the powers that were, because I like to put them in the past energetically. It takes more power away from them, because they've already lost. On an energetic level in the ether, they've already lost. The tide's already turning against them, and we will see it more and more as time goes on. The tide is already turning. Of course, it takes some time for that to happen. You know, when the tide's gone out a long way, it takes some time for it to come back in again. Anyone who's ever lived by the sea, I live by the sea, we know this. It takes hours for it to come back in again. It's not going to happen just boom like that because you want it to, because you made the change. But it is coming back in now. The energy is flowing back into us, and we can all start to experience greater levels of abundance, of gratitude, of feeling worthy, feeling deserving, and really laying that groundwork now for the generations to come, for them to remind themselves of just how worthy they are, and to realize, because what's actually happened, and this is something that I've been talking to my guides about recently, is that a lot of the younger generations, the younger people, they naturally have that remembrance of being deserving, but it's been subverted by the dark powers. It's been twisted by the dark powers, and so they've been made selfish. They've been encouraged to go into the shadow aspect of being deserving, which is to be selfish. The shadow aspect of gratitude, which actually not to be grateful, which is to want everything and not let anyone else share with you. And to actually be incredibly ungrateful. So it's taken us into these shadow aspects of the younger generations, who actually came through with this potential to manifest far more than the older generations. You know, they've come through with new soul contracts, they've come through with different karma, different levels of karma. And I think one of our duties here is to help these younger people, younger generations, to actually remember, yes, you are very deserving, but there's a way to do this, and to just find their way through the darkness back into the light now. Because of course, you know, our younger people, you are our future. You know, you are children, younger people, adolescents, but you know, the younger people out there, you're our future. You are deserving, you are loved. But we must all do this in a beautiful, gentle, harmonious way. So remember who you are, remember to give thanks always, and remember that you are so loved. Okay, thank you very much if you made it to the end of this video with me. If you watched all the way to the end, please write "I am loved" in the comments. And I mean you, not me. I am loved, okay. Please do remember to give me a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you all again soon.